Becoming the best version of yourself starts with your ability to keep that one promise to yourself. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 actionable steps that I took to build unwavering confidence, and you can apply that to your life right now. There's this phrase that I heard that truly resonated with me and helped me to embody the confidence that I desired for myself. It says, confidence is built on your discipline, your preparation, and your character, but not on your talent. When I heard this phrase, it completely blew my mind, and I started to dissect what exactly it truly meant and how I could apply it into my life so I could step into my true confident self. First thing I did to apply this phrase to my life is that I started creating a self-commitment list. As human beings, we have goals that we set our heart out to achieve. But a lot of times when life happens, when challenges come, you leave those promises that you've made to yourself, you leave it aside, and then you start to pursue other things. You fail to realize that those little things that you have initially set out to do for yourself are the stepping stones to that big goal that you want to achieve. The moment I realized this, I knew that I had to go back to the drawing board, and I started to dissect the little things, little goals, little promises that I had initially set to myself. But one thing comes up and you do not keep to these promises. What does it do? Not only does it take you away from the goals and aspirations that you have for yourself, it makes you that kind of person who lies to herself. So I started making a list. I will make a list of 3 things that I promise to do for myself, and I would ensure that I keep to those promises. Why is that important for me? Because the moment you learn how to keep a promise to yourself, it's the first step to instant confidence. Because the truth is, you do not need confidence to start a big goal. You need to start that big goal to be able to build your confidence. You realize that confidence comes from actions. The actions you take, the promises you keep to yourself, the self-discipline that defines you as a person. The second thing I did was reframe my relationship with rejection. I remember a few years ago when I lost my first job as an adult. I was devastated. I felt like a failure until I realized that rejection is just redirection to a different story. A lot of times, we take rejection very personal, and I understand that it's a human thing. When you've been rejected from a job, it takes a dent on your self-worth, on your self-confidence. But the truth is, the moment you realize that you being rejected for that opportunity doesn't mean that they are rejecting you as a person. It could mean that you are not a great fit for that job. It could mean that God has a better plan for you. So the moment I started seeing that rejection as redirection, I opened my heart, I opened my eyes to start to see the opportunities that were coming for me. I started to learn from my mistakes. I took time and I started to journal the things that I didn't do right at the previous job and how I needed to work on myself so that the next place I go to, I am giving them the best version of myself. That experience not only built my confidence, it made me realize that I had a whole lot more to give in the next place I was going to. So rather than focus on what didn't work where I was coming from, I started asking myself questions. What do you need to learn? What mistakes did you make there? How can you become the best version of yourself for where you are going to? The third thing I did to build my confidence is something I call handout happiness. I learned this from a friend of mine years ago. She went through a devastating moment in her life when she lost her father. After weeks of that incident, I saw her and I was sympathizing with her about that loss. But her energy was quite different. Her Her demeanor was quite different. The way she treated me was quite different. She gave me a very warm hug, a smile, and she kept on asking, Cmor, how have you been? I said, I should be the one asking you how you have been. And she looked at me and said, Cmor, my dad has lived a beautiful life and he is gone. But there's something he taught me in the last few days of his life. He reminded me I shouldn't focus on the loss. I should focus on the lessons. When I heard her express all of that to me, I didn't realize when I started shedding tears. Life will bring all sorts of challenges, but one of the things that helps you keep your head above the water is the ability to forget yourself for 1 minute and intercede on behalf of someone, and give someone happiness, and share goodness with someone, and share kindness with someone, regardless of what you're going through. So whether I have achieved what I want to achieve for the day, whether I'm in a good mood or not, whether I feel excited or not, I make a conscious effort to forget myself for 1 minute, and I hand out happiness to others. It could be as simple as the word of encouragement, a compliment. And guess one of the things I also do when it comes to handing out happiness is that I send a 1 minute gratitude video to that one person that has impacted my life. Comment below, what promise do you need to keep to yourself today? Number 4, set a 6-4 boundary rules. There are times where we feel a need to say yes to people and situations that we actually should have said no to. One of the things you can do to build confidence and to be assertive is learning how to say no. I set the rule of the 6-4 boundary rule. I would say no 6 times and say yes 4 times to determine if I truly want to give a yes. And I see it's something I can work around. Absolutely. If it's not something I can work around immediately, I'll simply say, I am not disposed to do that at the moment. Is next week a good time? Will next week still be a good time? Or I could outrightly say no. A lot of people just want to take from you, but they don't want to give you in return. You want to make sure you're setting boundaries so that you don't keep opening up your life, opening up your safe space for just about anyone. Because the more you open up your life to people and they're able to walk in when they like and walk out when they like, what they deposit back will damage your self-esteem, will damage your confidence. So being able to protect your space, and you must realize that saying no doesn't mean you're a bad person. Having learned how to set the 6-4 boundary rules, it has helped me build my confidence. It has helped me channel my strength to the right things, to the right direction, to the right priorities without draining myself. And the 5th thing I have had to learn to build unwavering confidence is something that is counterintuitive. A lot of people get afraid of it, but it has worked magnificently for me. It is to create a failure journal. Yes. We all run away from failures. We all run away from anything that says the F word in it. I have learned that when you're able to face your fear, when you're able to face that thing that you are afraid of, you develop the confidence to deal with it better. So I kick off with a journal where I write down my failures. It's a personal failure or a social failure or a professional failure or something I didn't do right. I write it down. It's a moment of reflection. Once a week, I go back to it. I look at what I failed at. And then I note down 3 positive things that I must do to correct it or make sure it doesn't happen again. This way, I am able to keep track of myself, the same way you celebrate your wins. Identify what your weaknesses are and work on it. Rather than be afraid of it, rather than run away from it, face it squarely and say, this is what I have done wrong. And these are the 3 things I am going to do to fix it. I am going to work on to fix it. Because at the end of the day, you want to have the best version of yourself, right? You want to project confidence, elegance everywhere you go. One of the ways you do that is dealing with the limiting beliefs, the limiting habits, the failures, the setbacks and weaknesses that is standing in the way of the woman that you are and the woman that you want to be. And because I don't want it to stand in my way, I write it down. Creating a failure journal was one of the most remarkable things that has helped me, because ever since I did that, I have learned not to be afraid of failure. The only thing I am afraid of is not trying, because I know that when I fail, there's an opportunity to know what I did wrong. There's an opportunity to get better. But when you don't try at all because you are afraid of failure, you will never know what your capabilities are. You will never know the kind of strength, the kind of courage, the kind of ideas that is embedded in this God-given human that you are. I have loved every single moment of today's video with you all. I hope it was helpful. Do remember to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who you know will benefit from this. Till next time, I'll see you in the next video.